Damn.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the Political Jargon Show with Eddie Quintana. I'm your host, Eddie Quintana, for November 6th, 2017. Hope everyone's having a mighty fine Monday. November 6th, 2017. Looks like we got another great day for politics and political talk, and that's why the show is called Political Jargon. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. We got a lot of things to talk about that I want to talk about. At least we got a lot of things that I would like to talk about. Last night obviously was the awful news about Texas, and we'll get to that and my thoughts on that, and our response to that, I guess I should say. But I just want to take a walk down memory lane, and then I've also got stories about the Donna Brazile thing. I've tried to make multiple videos on this, and none of them have seemed to upload. So there's that, and I've also got a poll that came out recently, and just taking it for what it's worth. Just taking for what it's worth. It's an interesting poll that will start the conversation about the Donna Brazile thing and how Democrats can come together in 2018 and in 2020 if they really want to. So I've got a lot of that and my own personal experiences with that, and so that'll be a nice rant that I'll go into. But I just want to take a walk down memory lane real quick. Everybody's allowed to walk with me for this nice walk down memory lane, so that we all can see how, for at least the next 2 years, 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, 3 years from now, at least for another 3 years, which is incredible to say. 2 years. For the next 2 years, this is how we as a country will react to these kind of things. So let's go ahead and just walk down memory lane, everybody. We'll go ahead and we'll start with good old Sean Hannity. So, obviously, this is from October 2nd, 2017, of the Sean Hannity Show on Fox News, and this is his reaction to the Las Vegas shooting. So let's go ahead and just take a quick listen here, shall we?
They're kids that are hanging on to life. None of this mattered to the left in this country. Their impulse to politicize this tragedy, as they do other tragedies, is beyond the pale. They are using this tragedy, why? To score cheap political points and push a gun control agenda. Don't believe me? Watch this.
I want to bring Commissioner Bratton back in. When you hear this, these very relaxed gun laws in the state of Nevada, how do the police protect against this?
They don't. In terms of what you just described is in some respects reflection, description of insanity, but that's the reality.
One more time, the description of insanity.
Terrorism, violence, how it happens elsewhere. Here, it's because of accessibility of a certain weaponry. So I'd be remiss not mentioning it now. I know it's highly political, but as a security person, this is, I'm looking at the access issue and looking at these numbers and absolutely shocked and outraged that for some reason we're not allowed to talk about that.
This is going to reopen the debate over guns in this country.
Well, it is, but I think it's really important to make sure we do it accurately.
I think this is time for a national dialogue that we can have in a calm and reasoned way in which the country can figure out how come we have so many mass shootings in this country. We can't have that conversation because it immediately becomes so emotional between between the gun owners of America who are protected by the NRA and other people who are saying there ought to be a more reasonable middle ground.
Now, this isn't bad enough. Look at some of the tweets. Look at these statements coming from Democrats calling again for gun control just within hours after the massacre happened. This is so shameful. Elizabeth Warren, thoughts and prayers, they're not enough. Not when moms and dads will bury kids this week and more sons and daughters will grow up without parents. Nancy Pelosi, she's out there calling on Speaker Paul Ryan to create a select committee to examine gun violence in America. Hillary Clinton, she took things further, going after the NRA. Here's what she tweeted, quote, "Our grief isn't enough. We can and must put politics aside and stand up to the NRA and work together to try and stop all of this from happening again." Beyond disgusting, inappropriate, and pathetic. Now, Clinton weighed in less than 9 hours after the shooting and went deep into the gutter of politics she says she doesn't want to play. Here's my question. Do they have any decency? Any thoughts about the families? We don't know the details yet, but this is their initial impulse. Keep watching the images on the side of your screen tonight. Has anyone on the left criticized Hillary or other Democrats for making this point? I don't see it. Imagine if the president today brought up the Second Amendment. How would the news media in this country have reacted? We don't know the motivation of this lunatic. We know it's premeditated. We know it's evil. I can make 100 different arguments. If it wasn't a gun, it would be a car or a bomb or whatever. The only thing the Democrats should be focused on tonight, the country needs to be focused on, the victims that are in the hospital, their families, and the investigation, because we don't have facts. But instead, they couldn't even wait a half a day to play politics. Shameful. And members of the media, they're also going directly...
Okay, I think we get the point. Is he went a little... what's the best word to describe this? Fucking crazy? That's 2 words, but I think you get my point. He's a little fucking crazy about how his response is. Because let's go ahead and just break this down. His argument is, how dare the Democrats talk about gun control after a gun mass shooting less than half a day after the incident? I mean, come on. If you want to talk about guns, you should have to wait at least 3 days, 17 hours, 26 minutes, and exactly 47 seconds. If you don't wait exactly that long... you're a bad person. You're just a bad person. Shameful. Shameful. I mean, it's incredibly moronic, the argument that they make, because I want to talk about how this man bought 20 guns, and, you know, it's like not that big of a deal that this man had 20 plus more guns, and it did this much harm. And, I mean, listen, I've said this since 2012. Democrats aren't going to get anywhere with guns. Republicans have won the battle on guns, just like Democrats have won the battle on a majority of social issues, marijuana, gay marriage, hell, even abortion to a certain extent. Democrats have won. There's no going back, no matter what Republicans say, no matter how many Republican presidents or Republican justices. We are not going back on gay marriage, on marijuana, or on abortion to a certain extent. We are not going to implement any new gun laws. None. If kids can die and we don't even pass one law of gun reform, it's over. It's over. No matter how hard Democrats push or independents push or the Green Party or Socialist Party of America or Our Revolution or Justice Democrats, sadly, the Republicans and the NRA will buy... The NRA will buy the Republicans, and the Republicans will filibuster anything else that they do. The only other way that we could... that somebody... doesn't even have to be me or Democrats or any of the other people I just listed. The only way that we could get any kind of gun reform is if Democrats took over the Senate and the House, because that's it. That's the only way. Other than that, just like how the only way to reverse gay marriage and abortion and marijuana, well, not marijuana, but gay marriage and abortion would be for like hardcore right-wing Scalia type justices to take over the Supreme Court justice, which hopefully won't happen, because then we are fucked. I mean, that's ridiculous. But so look at Sean Hannity's reaction to that, right? How dare the Democrats less than a day go after guns? How dare you? How dare you? That offends me. I'm so triggered. I can't. It offends me. I'm such a snowflake, and you can't talk about guns because Second Amendment or something. And so he called out Elizabeth Warren, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Tom Brokaw, like, what? MSNBC, CNN, ABC, all the usual bullshit that Fox News does. But now, oh, wait, about a month later, we get the terrorist attack in New York. We get a terrorist attack in New York. I want to know what Sean Hannity has to say about it, because it would definitely, he shouldn't talk about policy, right? Like, he shouldn't talk about policy because he just got so offended about the gun talk that the country kind of had, like, maybe a day after Las Vegas. He got so offended after that. He shouldn't talk about policy. I just hope that the video I show doesn't have him talking about policy, because that would be depressing and show how hypocritical Sean Hannity is and how much he's a hack, because he only plays for a team, and Republicans do everything right and Democrats don't do anything at all, and everything that's wrong with the country is exactly the Democrats' fault, and everything that the Democrats have done is ruining our country, and Republicans have done absolutely nothing. And so that's what Sean Hannity is. That's what Sean Hannity will always do, and he's not a real person, okay? He's not a real, he's not a serious person. He's not a serious person. So let's go ahead and break this down again. So I've got the Guardian up. So after the New York attack, wow, the Guardian doesn't put dates? Seriously? What the fuck? Where are the dates? What the hell? Come on, Guardian. Jesus Christ. Tuesday. Where the fuck is the dates? I can't. Oh, wait. This is awkward. I'm sorry, guys. So basically, my point is that after the New York terrorist attack, I think on the same day, the president started to go and talk about his policy, because this is technically policy of not allowing ISIS. Okay, our country and defeating them in the Middle East and elsewhere. Enough. Okay, so that's policy. He wants to increase war in the Middle East, and he does not want our country, ISIS. Okay, so he's basically making a policy standpoint, and he's basically talking about his thing. That's what I call the... People on the left call it a Muslim ban. People on the right call it a travel ban. It's a thing. That's basically what it is. So that's basically what he's talking about here. So let's go to Sean Hannity, shall we? And so this was a day after the attack. When was the Las Vegas shooting? October 1st. Okay, so the shooting happened on October 1st. This was Hannity on October 2nd, saying that we can't have policy on gun reform because it's too early to talk about laws in the country about guns, and you don't even wait for the people and the investigation to be over with, and blah, 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 blah. So when was the New York attack? 2017. October 31st. So this is him one day after the New York terrorist attack, but where the car drove in. So let's take a listen. So now that you know that background, now that you know what Hannity believes on policy and talking about policy after a massive attack on American soil, and that and his policy on when you can talk about it, let's go ahead and listen. That this was Hannity a day after the Las Vegas shooting, telling how despicable and shameful and decent and undecent Democrats are for talking about gun control. Let's go ahead and talk about Sean Hannity one day after the terrorist attack in New York, shall we? Let's take a listen.
Now, the president is now demanding tougher immigration laws, more extreme vetting, and is considering sending this, quote, animal terrorist to Guantanamo Bay. No,
you can't, Sean Hannity. That's policy. That's policy. No, Sean Hannity, you're a bad person. Do you have no sense of decency, Sean Hannity? Do you have no sense of decency, Sean Hannity? You are an ungrateful, just the worst kind of person. It's all fake. Sean Hannity's fake. It's fake. His outrage isn't about talking about policy. It's the fact that Democrats, how dare they go against the Second Amendment? Even though nobody's talking about banning guns, so nobody's really going against the Second Amendment. But the fact is, Sean Hannity, that for every day in America, there have been more mass shootings than days in the year of 2017. 33,000 people die a year due to guns. That includes suicides, homicides, accidents, mass shootings, okay? So 33,000 Americans die to guns, whether it be suicides, accidents, homicides, mass shootings. That is 10 9/11s. That is 10 9/11s. We have 10 countries to invade. We have 10 countries to invade. There have been, what is it? What are the numbers? There have been 3 Vietnams. If you 33,000 plus 33,000 plus 33,000 is 99,000. That's nowhere near. There have been about 3.5 gun shootings in 2016 alone, I think is where that number comes from. There have been 3.5 of those, and that will equal Vietnam. There have been what is it? It's like 10 9/11s. Like, when you put that in perspective, it makes you want to do something. And so now the debate is always been, should we pass like background checks, maybe a license, maybe a number on, maybe bump stocks, right? That's what the Las Vegas guy did, the bump stocks. Maybe that's a thing that we could talk about. No, the debate has never been, okay, I want to keep my guns because in the Constitution, the Second Amendment says I have the right to buy guns. And the Democrats just want to take all the guns. That's never been, and I will never argue somebody on the policy of guns if that's what they believe, because it's just fucking wrong. It's just fucking inaccurate, and you're either lying or you're being disingenuous, and there is no in between. It's either one or the other. Either you're lying to either yourself or the people you're talking about, so you can push a political agenda on how the Democrats do everything wrong and Republicans do all the shit right, or you're being disingenuous and you just know that is a false argument that nobody's trying to make, but you still push it anyways. Either way, you're still a scumbag, and you're not true, and no one should take you seriously because you're not a serious person. Sean Hannity is not a serious person. Okay? He's not. Let's go ahead and keep listening to this man talk about his policy proposals to make sure that this doesn't happen again. But he just went on a rampage a month ago about how talking about policy too soon after a terrorist attack is undecent. All right, let's keep listening.
Happen if we did nothing Sadly, this is exactly what is now playing out. We have a message for the left in this country, especially in politics. Stop the politics. Enough with the political correctness. Protect the American people. Now, tonight on this program...
Protect the American people? Sean, my ass doesn't feel safe going to a movie theater, an art museum, a park. Like, I don't feel safe going anywhere. Protect the American people? Hey, I'm a fucking American citizen, and I don't feel safe because of the accessibility to guns. Does my voice count, or does it not? That's what I would want to ask Sean Hannity. As an American citizen, I don't feel safe because wackos can get guns no matter where you go, or you can get almost any kind of gun you would want in America. I don't feel safe to go to a movie theater. Does my voice count, Sean Hannity, or am I offending you? Do you need a safe space from my microaggression talking about guns, you snowflake? Like, it doesn't make sense, okay? If you want to have a discussion, you know, a minute after a terrorist attack like New York or like Las Vegas, I'm all for it. Politicize shouldn't be a dirty word, okay? But it's becoming that stage to where it's becoming, politicize is becoming a dirty word. And it should never be a dirty word to politicize something. But my response is just simply, hey, yeah, I don't necessarily think that the diversity thing should be a thing. I mean, if you want to get rid of that, yeah, that's a policy move. So, yeah, sure, I have no problem with it. But to then say, oh, we need extreme vetting. We do biometric screenings, and like 12 different government agencies go into this person's life, and it takes like a year and a half for you to even step foot on American soil. And like, so we've already got it. Like, to compare the United States for the right, to compare the United States to like Germany just doesn't make sense, because Germany's more liberal and they have more accessibility of borders, and they don't have as strict of regulations as we do containing our borders. And so it's not a fair comparison to make. And based on your own logic, you shouldn't be able to make that comparison, because I can't make the comparison between us and other Western industrialized nations who have single-payer healthcare. I'm not saying we copy their exact system 100% because it won't work in America. That's a fact. But I'm just saying, hey, if they can do single-payer healthcare system and they have less than a population, they're not the richest country the face of the earth has ever seen, then we should be able to do something like that as well. But to the right, you go, you can't make that comparison. New argument. And then the right will go and say, look at us. Look at Germany, same border policy. How dare we? We need more. And it's disingenuous to make that point, and it doesn't make sense. And so it's just false. We don't have the same border policy and immigration like citizenship test that Germany does. It's just a false claim to make, and you're lying or you're being disingenuous. And that's the problem with the right, is that they're either, if they make a solid point, they're either lying about it or they're being disingenuous about it. And so it's with almost anybody on the right. I think the right, if it became more like John Kasich and Rand Paul, the right would be better off in America. Just like how I think the Democrats should go with Nina Turner, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, the Democrats would be better off in America. So, but again, Sean Hannity is a fake person. He's not a real person. And again, he's becoming Alex Jones. So he immediately gets his credibility, whatever little credibility he had, taken away from him, because he's repeating the same talking points that fucking Alex Jones does. There are people who love Sean Hannity. There are people who love Sean Hannity that I've talked to, and I've said, "Oh yeah, Alex Jones is fucking crazy. He's Alex Jones, woo, crazy." But then you show them the video of Sean Hannity using the same talking points and phrases as Alex Jones, and they're like, and it's like, are you fucking serious? Come on. So let's go ahead and just one more time to listen to Sean Hannity talk about, I mean, I've already proven that he's a scumbag and he's fake and he's disingenuous and blah, 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 blah. So let's go ahead and just keep listening, see if he says anything else.
program, we will explain exactly how these liberal policies have now resulted in a less safe America. You'll also hear tonight exclusively from a former NYPD lieutenant. He actually surveilled individuals at the specific mosque in Paterson, New Jersey that this terrorist attended. We have all of that and so much more in tonight's Breaking News opening monologue.
All right, he goes into his opening monologue. I'm not going to... there's no point. So now that segues in, so now that we have the pretext of, okay, so we have a white crazy lone gunman in Las Vegas do something, and you can't politicize it. Don't politicize it. How dare you? You can't. To a jihadi killing 8 people instead of, killing 59 people. Obviously, that's all awful. I'm just putting it in context. Politicize, talk about policy, talk about our immigration, talk about the diversity visa, talk about it all. We don't even wait, okay? Now let's go to Texas and how, we've got the Washington Post talking about, wait, where is it? Where'd it go? No, I don't have it. Dang it, I lost it. I don't have it. I'm sad. I'll just go to CNN for this. Texas. Sorry about this. I'm not prepared at all. All right, so I've got CNN reporting here today. Let's go ahead and just switch it real quick. Sorry. All right, so CNN. All right, so Texas church shooting leaves 26 dead, including 8 members of one family. Fuck, man, that's depressing. So at least 8 members of the same family among the 26 were killed Sunday when a man armed with rifles burst to the sanctuary of a church in Texas and started firing. The mass shooting left about 20 others. Shut up. About 20 others wounded in the small town of Sutherland Springs, about 30 miles east. 30 miles east of San Antonio. Okay, so this was in Texas. The massacre killed about 4% of the town's population. 4% of the town's population. Holy shit. And no one at church was left unscathed, the Wilson County sheriff said. I think nearly everyone had some type of injury. So, dang, this is one of the worst shootings in America. And it's about a day after the breaking news came. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about policy because, or should I? I don't know. Based on Sean Hannity's standard, I don't know if it's okay to talk about gun reform, if it's not okay to talk about gun reform. But again, fuck Sean Hannity. I'm going to talk about gun reform. So it's the largest mass shooting, according to Greg Abbott, in the state's history, and ordered flags to fly half-staff across the state Monday. Okay. From what I've seen from other sources is that the guy was crap, I forgot. He beat his wife. He was dishonorably discharged from the military. Has been a white man in his 20s. Authorities does not say what the motive was. He was a member of the U.S. Air Force and served there until his discharge, according to Air. He was later court-martialed for assault on a spouse and assault on their child. So he's obviously not a good guy. And in April of 2016, he purchased an AR-556. He allegedly used in shooting from a store in San Antonio. There was no disqualifying information in the background check conducted as required for the purchase, a law enforcement official told CNN. Yeah, except for his 2012 assault on his spouse and assault on their child. After he'd been discharged from the Air Force, you couldn't even wait. Like, I mean, holy crap! See, this is the problem, man. These 3 paragraphs right here. Oh, he was discharged from the military, and obviously CNN doesn't know what the discharge was about, but I would like to know what the discharge was for. And then he was court-martialed for assault on a spouse and assault on their child. He served a year in confinement, received bad conduct discharge, and had his rank reduced. And then he bought a fucking gun. Because you can do that after you assault somebody. You know, the right want people who've been arrested for any kind of, if you've been arrested, you can't run for political office. But if you've been arrested, you can run and get a gun. That's fair. Oh yeah, that's fair. And then this is how this is what happens when it happened. So here's San Antonio, and then there's Sutherland Springs right around here. So there's a map. That's good to know. But yeah, like shit, man, this is fucking crazy. It's incredibly sad, and condolences to the families and to the small town. I mean, 4% of your population. That is unbelievably hard to deal with, and I don't even know what I would do if I was put in that situation. So thoughts and condolences to that, and also let's pass some fucking gun reform, shall we? Because this is fucking bullshit, and in America we shouldn't have to fucking deal with this almost every fucking day. So let's go ahead and go to Texas, where Texas shooting a mental health problem, not a guns problem. Thanks, Trump. As an American citizen, I feel so safe. So President Trump said Monday that a mass shooting at a Texas church that left 26 dead was not a, quote, gun situation, end quote, declaring that the problem was the shooter's, quote, mental health, quote. I think that mental health is your problem here, Trump said during a news conference in Tokyo, Japan, in response to a question about the massacre in Texas. This was based on preliminary reports, a very deranged individual. Not a lot of problems over a long period of time. Okay, so if we take him at his word, let's just pause there real quick. If we take him at his word, he obviously knows something more than what CNN was reporting about his discharge and his assault on his wife and his child. So obviously, if there's more stuff like that, then that just proves my point that he shouldn't have probably owned a gun. Now, Trump saying it's a mental health problem is fucking hilarious, because of this article I'm about to pull up. It's my favorite article of the year. So let's go back to Newsweek is reporting this. Let's go ahead and go back to February 15th, 2017. I've also seen this by NBC, I think. So here we go. Let's go ahead and read this article, shall we? Remember, it's a mental health thing. So Trump's all for mental health and how, it's a mental health problem, and I don't really necessarily know what that means. Is he saying that if you have really bad mental health, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun? Is that what he's saying? I can't really tell. But let's go ahead and just assume that until he clarifies with us. So let's go ahead and go to this article by Newsweek, and I've seen it by NBC as well. Okay, so the repeal is a significant step for gun advocates. Oh, okay, so this is back in 2017, July 15th. Here we go. The GOP-controlled Senate in mid-February voted in favor of revoking the resolution. I should probably go a paragraph up. Right? Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. So the Social Security Administration finalized the standing rule in December under President Barack Obama with the regulation. So the standing rule, the regulation, the SSA was required to identify and report to National Instant Criminal Background Check System, NICS, individuals who were unable to work because of severe mental impairment and can't manage their own Social Security financial benefits, and therefore were ineligible to buy guns. The thought was that those certain Social Security recipients could pose a danger to themselves or others. Oh, okay. So the Social Security Administration said, okay, listen, we have people who are so severely mentally handicapped that they can't handle their own finances and their own checks that we give them. So we're saying they shouldn't be able to own and operate a gun because they can't even handle their own finances. That's what they're saying. Okay, fair enough. Pose a danger to themselves. Yeah, they could accidentally shoot themselves in the face. Pose a danger to others. Yeah, they could walk out and accidentally shoot someone else in the face. I mean, it's been proven that if you add guns to a particular area, the chances of accident and death increases by however many percentage. So, okay, reasonable, I think. Let's go ahead and keep going. To some, though, it's not very reasonable. So, the repeal is a significant step for gun advocates. The GOP-controlled Senate in mid-February voted in favor of revoking the resolution. 57-43. Democratic Senators Joe Donnelly, you're going to get primaried. Heidi Heitkamp, you're going to get primaried. Joe Manchin, you're already being primaried. And John Tester, come on, Tester, you're better than this. You should get primaried. Along with independent Senators Angus King of Maine, probably should get primaried, voted with the Republicans. The National Rifle Association applauded the Senate's decision, calling the existing regulations Obama's unconstitutional gun grab. Okay, so it is correct to state that there is no incoherent connection between being mentally ill and being dangerous. Senator Chris Murphy said on the chamber floor at the time of the vote, but the risk here is not that just an individual is going to buy a gun and use it themselves. The risk is that someone who can't literally deposit their own paycheck probably can or likely can't responsibly own and protect a gun. Earlier in February, the House moved forward with the measure by a 235-180 vote. Trump's repeal also reverses the SSA rule, reporting possibly dangerous individuals to NICS. So, again, Donald Trump is a liar and a fraud and not a serious person. You can't claim that mental health is the problem when you literally just reversed mental health earlier in the fucking year. How idiotic does he think we are, let alone I am? I mean, I'm still the dumbest person you'll probably ever meet, but I'm not an idiot. Like, I get push notifications on news from all over, Fox, CNN, Washington Post, MSNBC, Vox, Wall Street Journal. I get them all over. So I saw this when this broke, and I'm going to use this every time there's a mass shooting because Trump doesn't believe it's a mental health issue. His policies already prove that. He doesn't fucking believe his own, what he just fucking said the other day. He doesn't fucking believe it because he's a liar. He's a pathological liar. It's incredibly irritating to see someone who believes that it's a mental health issue and then earlier in the year deregulate mental health regulations on buying weapons. He doesn't fucking believe it. Nobody should support this man. He's not a serious person. Nobody should believe him. Everything he says is a fucking lie. It's incredibly gross. It's incredibly frustrating. And I can't believe that this is happening. So there's that. There's his response. Again, another fucking shitty response from our president. So it's incredibly frustrating. That's basically what I have to say to it. It's incredibly annoying, and I can't stand the man, and he's a pathological liar, and nothing's going to get done. We had kids die, and nothing was done. The only thing I thought that would make Republicans switch on having some kind of watered down background check bill is if someone went into someone went into a church and shot up almost everybody in the church. I thought that Republicans would finally move on the gun control debate and say, we got to protect the churches, which we do. We have to protect the schools. We have to protect the theaters. We have to protect the churches. We have to protect everywhere from America's fascination with weaponry. But this just proves it. Even with people who went to church, you can't feel safe in America anymore. You go to a theater, you get shot up. You go to a church, you get shot up. You go to see one of your favorite senators, you get shot up. You go to a school, you get shot up. I mean, it's You go to work, you get shot up. I mean, it's incredibly frustrating that we haven't done anything since Sandy Hook. Anything since Sandy Hook. How does that make us look? How does that make you feel? Does that make you feel good? Does that make you feel like you've done something with your life? Does that make you feel like you're protecting the American citizens? It's incredibly gross. It's incredibly... As an American citizen, I don't feel safe, and that's that's a valid reason to promote more incredibly... What's a milquetoast term? Kind of the nicest way I could put this. More... incredibly nearsighted and informed by your bubble policy decisions on immigration. That's a valid excuse. Oh, we got to protect the American citizens, so let's go ahead and ban these countries which are majority Muslims and put religious tests, as some people on the right have said. Only the Christians can come in. That's incredibly gross and probably unconstitutional. So that should be, so saying that I just don't feel safe due to guns, that should be a valid reason, but of course it's not, because it's not, you don't feel scared that you're under attack by ISIS. You just want to push a more radicalized immigration system. It's not the fact that you feel dangerous or whatever, it's incredibly frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating. That's all it comes down to. So, the last part for today, I want to cool down. I'm still going to get highly irritated from this because we have to go to the Washington Post and Politico, and I'm going to go ahead and take a break real quick and talk to you guys about what happened over the weekend. Right, the weekend. Yeah, Friday, Saturday, usually Friday and Saturday was when the story broke. So Politico reported November 2nd that Donna Brazile is writing a book, and she's saying that, the DNC basically signed this agreement giving Hillary Clinton all of the ability to control hiring, firing, strategy, analytics, distribution of money, and funds and communications were given over to the Hillary Clinton campaign a year before she won the nomination to be candidate of the DNC. Now I have to fact check myself before I say the next thing. Because so according to Wikipedia, so I'm going to go ahead and make my point because I heard some Hillary Clinton fanboys and fangirls say, okay, listen, Bernie bro. Yeah, it sounds bad that Hillary Clinton was able to do all of this in 2015 when they signed the joint agreement, but she was already going to be, the primary had already started, and she was going to win because she won a majority of the states by that point. So it's okay. That doesn't make any sense considering that, now this is from Wikipedia alone, and I probably should find another source, but it says that it started in February 1st of 2016. So they signed that agreement before any vote for the primary was started. So I don't understand how Hillary Clinton people can come out and say that, oh, this was okay because she had already won the primary and Bernie wasn't going to win because he was mathematically disqualified from winning. No, that's factually incorrect then. If the primary started 6 or 7 months after they signed the agreement. So it's incredibly false. It's incredibly misleading. And I don't understand how people still support Hillary Clinton after this point. I mean, other than the fact that she's a Republican, I don't understand how any Democratic politician can, or any Democratic, or anybody who's a Democrat can support her. So let's go ahead and go to Politico and Democrats shaken and angered by Donna Brazile's book. Let's go ahead and read this. This will be fun. You'll see me rage out again. Donna Brazile forthcoming memoir triggered renewed recriminations at the highest ranks of the Democratic Party this weekend over the topic that just won't die. 2016. You're damn right it won't die. The latest bombshell from the book came Saturday in a report that former interim Democratic National Committee chair seriously considered replacing Hillary Clinton on the ticket with Vice President Joe Biden after Clinton collapsed at a 9/11 memorial service. Brazile also describes the Clinton campaign as badly mismanaged and spiritless, according to a copy of the memoir that Washington Post acquired early. That came on the heels of an expert published by Politico magazine. Let's go ahead and go to that. About how Brazile said she discovered the Clinton campaign had essentially rigged the DNC, if not the primary itself, in Clinton's favor long before she became the nominee, apparently confirming the worst suspicions of Bernie Sanders' campaign. All right, as someone who voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary, I would just like to say that this has been noticeable since the primary started. And if you're a Bernie supporter watching this and someone who's a Hillary Clinton fanboy says, it's not rigging, they didn't change votes, Hillary Clinton won by 3 million more votes, so this entire thing is invalid, you look them straight in the eye and say, go fuck yourself. Because not only are we not talking about changing votes literally, we're just saying they rigged it in every other way possible that they could. Okay? So stop straw-manning me and making me try to argue you on the fact that they didn't change votes, which I've already given to you that, hey, they didn't change votes. Nobody's arguing that. We're saying that it's rigged every other way imaginable. Keep them straight on that. It's rigged every other way imaginable. How Hillary Clinton distributed the finances to all other campaigns for the Democratic Party during the 2016 election. She was the manager of it. Other than the fact that the Podesta email showed that they wanted to atheist shame Bernie Sanders in the Midwest, how they wanted to keep the debates in times that people wouldn't be able to watch it, or after, or during football, all these different things that were proven through the Podesta WikiLeaks emails, that they rigged it every other way. And I would just like to also side point really quick. Not only did the Hillary Clinton people like Donna Brazile, they loved Donna Brazile, and not only did the Hillary Clinton people like Elizabeth Warren, they loved Elizabeth Warren to the point that they said Bernie Sanders should follow in Elizabeth Warren's footsteps and just blindly support Hillary Clinton. How fast the Hillary Clinton people turn on you. Donna Brazile comes out with this. She says it was essentially rigged. Almost every other portion and part of the DNC was rigged other than actually changing votes for Hillary Clinton. And then Elizabeth Warren on CNN and MSNBC said, yeah, it was rigged. Yeah, it was rigged. And the Hillary Clinton fanboys went crazy and fangirls went crazy. They shit all over Donna Brazile and Elizabeth Warren like that. Some people who I talked to were willing to support Elizabeth Warren and now weren't. I managed on Twitter to talk to a never burning person, and I basically said, so if it was between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump in 2020, who would you vote for? She basically said she wouldn't vote, and then after asking her why, she criticizes Bernie voters who didn't vote for Hillary out of pettiness. Why didn't they? Why is she doing the exact same thing she's criticizing people for? And then she went for personal insults after me, and then the very end of it, she basically said, I would vote for Trump over Bernie Sanders. So I got a Hillary Clinton fan and supporter to, just by asking questions, to vote for Trump in 2020. Good. We don't need you. If you're a resistor, a proud resistor and a liberal, Bernie Sanders should be one of your favorite people in America. No questions asked. He's a liberal. But you're not liberal. You're a Democrat, and you're a partisan hack, and you party over policy any day, even though it should be policy over party every day, 8 days a week. It's incredibly frustrating because not only did nobody know who Bernie Sanders was, he was a 4,667-year-old man out of Vermont that had like a 4% name recognition, who nominated himself to become president of the United States and fight in the primaries against the Clinton machine, which had all the name recognition in the world. And he ended up winning 23 states, 47% of all ballots casted in the primary, and almost took down Hillary Clinton and won the Democratic nomination. It's incredibly amazing, his story. And now, out of pettiness, the Hillary Clinton people are not going to vote for Bernie Sanders. Amazing how they just wanted Hillary Clinton. And it wasn't about how third-party voters and people who didn't vote and all these other things. It wasn't like that at all. It never was. They just wanted people to vote for Hillary Clinton. And it's amazing. So let's go ahead and go back to this, shall we? So the Politico story is right here. It basically talks about all the different things and all the different sources and all the different pieces of proof Donna Brazile has on how the DNC was able to rig the primary against Bernie Sanders. So let's go ahead and go back here and talk about how Democrats are shaken and angered, because I want to end this by talking about Democrats in 2018 and Democrats in 2020. Quote, "The timing couldn't have been worse. It does us no good to hash out all this stuff. At this point, we should be looking to the future. What's done is done," said former DNC chairman and Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell, pointing to the financial agreement at the center of Donna Brazile's account. "There was no crime committed. Go fuck yourself." Yes, there was. But it would have been easy to avoid. So I don't think it was rigged. I think what the DNC did was just awful. Dude, you're primary this dude, seriously. But we should stop talking about it. It passed. We can't adjudicate it now. Let's focus on elections Tuesday and onward going forward. I think they missed a word. He added, "There can't be any positives that come from that." Okay, listen. I'm a registered Democrat, and I was seriously thinking about registering as an independent after this story broke by Donna Brazile, because as I'm still a registered Democrat, let me go ahead and talk to you, Mr. Governor Ed Rendell. Who would want to give to the DNC if it already came out that they'll use their money and give it to a candidate that they weren't giving to in the first place? I'm not willing to give money to the DNC if I know that they'll just give that money to a Kamala Harris or a Cory Booker. So it's not a good strategy. You want to move on because there can't be any positives that come from looking in the past? Well, here's something we should say to you. No, we have to look in the past, because you're not going to get funding that you need for the DNC, because nobody will trust you to give to the candidate that they wanted to. It's incredibly short-sighted to just say, let's move on. Let's just move on. There can't be any positives. We got elections to win. Blah, blah. It's incredibly short-sighted, dude. You don't understand how to run a party or how to cover for somebody, all right? So let's go ahead and keep reading. The backbiting commenced again after Brazile's experts described how Clinton campaign had secretly formalized its control of the party's apparatus during her primary contest with Sanders. That claim was soon muddied by the publication of the fundraising agreements in question. They revealed that many of the provisions Brazile wrote about pertained only to the general election, but the stage was set for another relitigation of the rushing primary. Seizing the opportunity to inflame Democratic tensions, leading Republicans have jumped on the dispute. The real story on collusion is in Donna B's new book. Crooked Hillary bought the DNC and then stole the Democratic primary from Crazy Bernie, President Donald Trump tweeted on Friday. Sanders responded, "We won't be distracted from your efforts to give billionaires tax cuts, take health care from millions and deny climate change. Do your job." So let's go ahead and just end this with a discussion. So we know for a fact for a fact the DNC was rigged in favor of Hillary Clinton because, again, the agreement was signed in 2015 way before any primary votes had been casted. So that's a false and bullshit point. But as a registered Democrat who supported Bernie Sanders and bit my tongue, swallowed my pride, and voted for Hillary Clinton and regret that 100%, I would just like to talk to you, never Bernie, never Warren, never anybody else but my queen Hillary Clinton people, because you're crazy. Let's just start with that. So I would just like to say it's over. We can't go in the past. 2016 will never happen again. We have to move forward and pick the strongest candidate of the bunch. To me, it's Bernie Sanders type candidates. So if Bernie Sanders wants to run in 2020, I think he should. If Elizabeth Warren wants to run in 2020, I think she should. If Nina Turner wants to run in 2020, I believe she should. Not Kamala Harris. Nina Turner and Tulsi Gabbard. If Tulsi Gabbard wants to run for president in 2016 as president and Bernie Sanders as vice president, I think that would be an interesting thing to have. But we need to understand that Hillary Clinton will never, and she should never, run for elected office again. It's over. She's not going to run again. And like I said, there are some Hillary Clinton people who would want to see Trump in 2020 again, just so that Bernie Sanders doesn't win. I had a point. So the Hillary Clinton people need to either step aside or join the progressive grassroots movement with Brand New Congress, All of Us, Justice Democrats, all these different movements that are coming together to try to get progressives and elected, or just people who don't take big money donors. That's basically the common factor between all the groups, is that they don't want big money in Congress anymore, and that's what they're pushing for. Hillary Clinton's time is done. If she was the greatest candidate, she would have beat Donald Trump, no questions asked, in a landslide, but she didn't because she's not the greatest candidate. Because when you look at her record, she's not a Democrat. She voted for the Iraq War. She voted for the Patriot Act. She just came around on gay marriage. Bernie Sanders was fighting for trans rights while he was fighting for black people rights and got arrested for fighting with MLK Jr. Hillary Clinton was in the 60s and in the mid 60s on Walmart's a registered Republican on Walmart's branches what's the name business committee funding with Barry Goldwater. Like, it's incredibly ignorant that these people are not going to vote for Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or Nina Turner, and then they have the gall to call out Bernie Sanders supporters. Listen, for Democrats to win in 2018 and 2020, you have to, Hillary Clinton supporters, you have to get behind Bernie Sanders and Bernie Sanders type candidates like Nina Turner, Tulsi Gabbard, Elizabeth Warren, all these different people, because it's building. It's building. 88% of Bernie Sanders people voted for Hillary Clinton. Could you imagine if you had pissed off those 88%? You would have lost the popular vote. So that's what we got to do. That's how we got to move forward, Democrats. Not saying that I want to be a Democrat. I do, but not this Democratic Party. Not the Tom Perez, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris. Not that Democratic Party. That is a centrist, milquetoast, corporatist Democratic Party that is basically Republican light. And we can't keep going further to the right to try to win elections. It's just not going to happen. It's just incredibly stupid. They've been doing this since Bush won, I would argue, since Reagan won, really. We got to keep pushing maybe some center-left people on social issues like gay marriage and abortion, but on basically foreign policy, economics, center-right people. That's how we win. We have to be more like Republicans. They seem to win all the time. at the time. Let's win. Let's push right. That's incredibly false. Bernie Sanders is the most popular person in Congress, politician in America, based on almost every kind of poll you look at. He ranks better than Pence, Clinton, Trump, all the Sessions, all these different people. And the Democratic Party is still refusing to go with actual Democrats and Bernie Sanders type people. Because, again, Democrats are paid to lose, Republicans are paid to win. Democratic Hillary Clinton voters and fans are willing to give Trump a second term because they're more willing to lose than go with progressive candidates. And it's incredibly frustrating. So basically, if you want to take one thing away from this hour-long video, is that today is a frustrating day, and I'm frustrated. So that'll close it off. I have a few videos. It's almost 1 year since Trump was elected president on election day. I may do something special for that day. I may not. Who knows? We'll see. Hope everyone has a fine Monday. As you can tell, I'm incredibly frustrated. So other than that, let's have a great Monday. Don't let politics bring you down. Yeah, have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys later. It was fun talking to you, and I'll do something later, I guess. Peace out, guys.